Hey everyone, so I've done a quick breakdown video of my latest single, Will You Fall Too, just showing you what all the different instruments sound like by themselves and essentially showing you how they all fit together in the final project. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is go through the final chorus as it kind of crescendos up to a big final drop where everything's going on. So I think that's probably the best part to break down. So I'll play it first and then we can go through it bit by bit. Yeah, so I think for the purpose of this video, what I'll do is just go through group by group, the way that I've grouped them here. This is how I like to group things. Start with the drums, go on to the bass, then the vocals, then everything else kind of just mixes. Everything else is kind of just mixed around the vocals, which I really want to come through. And a couple of random crashes here for some reason. I don't know why they've not ended up in a group. So yeah. So starting with drums, obviously I didn't play them live. I've only got a small little room here, so I had a few live drum samples from previous projects that I worked on, so it was just a matter of sampling, tuning, and processing. Quite a lot of reverb on these drums just to try and give them that emotional sound to them, as it can be quite hard to achieve acoustic sounding drums from samples, so we'll just give them a quick listen. So yeah, I've got a bit of a storm drum sort of thing going on there as well, like coming in. A couple of fills going on. I think I've got a rim snare here mixed with a more heavy snare. So we've got this kind of big snare that's being mixed with a more transient, a much more transient snare. And in the first and second chorus, this more transient snare is the only snare that's being played. So yeah, I added another snare in the final chorus just to give it a bit of power. So yeah, that's the drums. Nothing fancy, pretty simple drum rhythm going on there. And then bass. So if you're listening on a phone, which I imagine most people are, there's probably nothing for you to hear here because it's just a simple sine wave. I use the ES2 Logic synthesizer just because it's quite renowned for its sine wave. So yeah, I'll give it a play, but there's a big chance you won't hear anything. So yeah, if you're listening on speakers or through headphones, you might just be able to pick that up. But that just gives it a little bit of warmth, and that actually sits under the strings. So yeah, that's drums and bass, and then we've got the vocals. We've got some high oohs, some high ahs, and then just the main chorus vocals, so we'll give them a listen. If I fall in love, will you fall into your arms? I've fallen. If I fall in love, will you and girl, you know So it sounds quite full, even just played on its own. So we've got these harmonies. If I fall in love, will you fall in? So that's just a stack of harmonies there, and they're also panned left and right, and the main one's in the centre. I think there's a little bit of chorus effect on those as well, just to give them a bit of width. So we've got that going on, and then we've got some oohs and some ahs. We'll give them a listen. Lovely. And then we've got the main chorus vocal. I fall in love and some delay on those as well. I think that's pretty much it for the vocals. So not a lot again, mainly just EQ and reverb really, and a bit of compression. But I recorded these through my Neumann UH7 into a Neve preamp that I've got down here, and then into a LA1, which is essentially like a LA2A opto compressor, 500 series emulation, which is actually really nice. It does a really good job. So yeah, the vocals came through quite nice pre-processing anyway, just need a little bit more compression and some EQ. So that's the vocals. And then we have the piano, which just comes in for the choruses really, and the second verse. So we've got that. So yeah, that's again pretty simple, just playing the chords, and then we've got some little 3-note descending little licks there at the end of each chord, just to give it a bit of interest. This actually started off as a software piano played in with MIDI, and then I ran them through. I've got a couple of 500 series SSL EQ, so I ran them through there just to clean them up a little bit, because they can sound a bit messy. So actually, I think I used Contact for that. So yeah, that's the piano. And then we've got guitar, which is just some strum guitar panned left and right, I believe. Nothing fancy again. So yeah, that's essentially what the guitars do. Nothing fancy. And then a little bit of a string section here. We've got some bass strings, which are giving a little bit of depth to these strings here. That kind of plays in with the bass, which I mentioned earlier. So although you can't hear the sine, this bass string sits on top of the sine wave and makes it audible in other speaker setups, such as, iPhones, things like that. So we've got that at the bottom, and then on top of that I threw a cello, because why not? So these are also Contact software strings. So yeah, that's just following the rising bass line of the bass strings, and then I have a violin sitting on top of that, which is doing a bit more of a melodic variation from the other two. So this is sort of playing along with the main lead vocal, almost harmonising with it in a way. So yeah, strings. That's the strings. They came out quite nicely, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, these are harmonies from the second verse. So it changes time signatures a few times throughout the song. It's in 6/8 in the choruses, and it's in 4/4 in the verses. It also changes BPM multiple times, as it was all live recorded. You can see here I've kind of tracked in the BPM as I've gone through. So it starts off quite slow at 74 beats per minute, and it heads all the way up to 84 at the end, and then drops back down to 73 for the outro guitar. I could have done it all 1 BPM. It would have been a hell of a lot easier, but I just think for the sake of emotion, it just gives the song a bit of movement changing like that, and it makes it sound a little bit more natural. So yeah, so that is it. So we've got the drums. And the strings, bass, vocals, piano,
girl, you know I'm in love with you,
and the guitar.
so if I fall in love, will you fall too?
And then drop it into the intro and outro guitar. So yeah, that is essentially it. I'm going to release the a cappella for this song and for my previous single very soon on YouTube. So any remixes out there, you know what to do. And that's that. So thank you very much for watching, and a massive thank you again to anybody who's listened to my single so far. I really appreciate that. So yeah, see you soon.